Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel. Myself Subham Kumar, studying in Sri Venkateswara College of Engineering in Computer Science and Engineering branch of 6th semester. Today we are going to discuss about web development and technology. And this we are going to start with introduction to HTML. Now what is HTML? HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, and with HTML you can create your own website. HTML describes the structure of web pages. HTML is derived from a language SGML, that's Standard Graphics Markup Language. HTML is not a programming language, it is a markup language. A markup language is a set of markup tags. HTML uses markup tags to describe web pages. HTML is not case sensitive language. HTML documents contain HTML tag and plain text. HTML elements that labels pieces of content such as this is heading, this is paragraph, and this is link, etc. It is the elements that tell the browser how to display the content. It consists of series of elements that we can mention above. Next, we can see the structure of HTML, that is document HTML. This is the type how can we write the HTML code. Here we can see that document HTML, that is the declaration defines that the document is a HTML file document. Now HTML element is a root element of a HTML page. Then there is a head, body, h1, that is a heading. That head, we can say that element contains meta information about the HTML pages. Then there we have a title. That element specifies the title of the HTML page. Then the body, we can see that element defines the document's body and the container of all the visible contents such as heading, paragraphs, images, hyperlink, tables, list, and etc. Here is h1, that is my first heading. That element defines the large heading. Again, we can see in the above. Then how can we define the headings? Then there is p, which is paragraph, that defines the paragraph. Next, we can see what is HTML heading. HTML heading are defined with the h1 to h6 tags. Then h1 defines the most important headings, h6 defines the least important headings. The HTML headings provides 6 level of heading. It is used to create document outline of pages. Then here we can see that the element is defined by a start tag, some content and int tags. Then the web browsers, that the purpose of web browser, that Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Safari is used to read the HTML document, display them in the correct way. Now we can see the example of headings. That this is the document example as we discussed above. That h1 is the topmost heading, then h6 is the leastmost heading, and the body and HTML that which closed like that. Now we can see what is HTML paragraph. HTML paragraph are defined with the p tag. Example: p is the paragraph, which is displayed as plus p. This is another paragraph. It is the most basic unit of text in HTML. N number of p's can be used in the paragraph. Now we can see the example. This is the example. This is the document type example. Then HTML body. This is a paragraph. PPP. We can see the paragraph is defined as P, then body, then HTML. Now we can see that document HTML. That document is a declaration. That declaration represents the document type and help browser to display web pages correctly. It must only appear once at the top of the page before HTML tags. The document type declaration is not case sensitive, as we mentioned before. A document type declaration is HTML5. Now we can see the HTML heading. Heading HTML defined with h1 to axis, what we have seen. Then we can see the about paragraphs. Paragraph is defined with p. In the example, this is the p. Now next we can see entities in HTML, that some characters are reserved in HTML. They must be replaced with character entities. Character entities are used to display reserved characters in HTML. A character entity looks like entity name or entity number. Here we can see that HTML entities, that is greater than or less than sign. The characters are used to display reserved characters in HTML, or to display the less than sign we must write ampersand it. Now we can see the next slide, that is NBSP, that is non-breaking space. A commonly used entity will not break into the new line. Two words separated by a non-breaking space will stick together. That is the example which is given, 10 km per hour and 10 p.m. At two words separated by non-spacing will stick together, that not break into a new line. This is hardly we break the word might be disrupt. Another common use of the non-breaking space is to prevent browsers from truncating spaces in HTML pages. If we write 10 spaces in the text, as we see the example, if you write 10 spaces in your text, browser will remove 9 of them. To add real spaces to your text, you can use as ampersand NBSP, that character entities. Now the second, we see less than and greater than entity. For less than entity, we use the symbol that less than, and entity name will be represented as ampersand ID, that we have discussed. That we have seen the example, that ampersand hashtag 60. For greater than entity, we use the symbol greater than, and the entity name will be represented as ampersand GT. Example, ampersand hashtag 62. Now we can see the advantages and disadvantages of HTML. The advantages which I have mentioned is very less. So it is easy to remember. An advantage, it is easy to remember. And another advantage, we can say that it is supported by all the browsers. HTML is used to build the websites. It can be integrated with other languages like CSS, JavaScript, etc. Now we can see what is disadvantages of HTML. Browsers may not support all entity names, but support for entity number is good. Another disadvantage we can say, that HTML can only create static web page. For dynamic web pages, other languages have to be used. A large amount of code has to be written to write a simple web page. The security feature is not good in the HTML. Now the last question everybody is asked, why should we learn HTML? So we can learn HTML because it is a simple markup language. Its implementation is easy. It is used to create a website, helps in developing fundamentals about web programming, and it boosts your professional career. Okay, so thank you for today's session.